After close to 4 years of the entire gaming community being plagued with countless games in the Battle Royale genre, Ubisoft decided that it was their time to put their hat in the ring with the release of Hyper Scape in July of 2020. And with a huge and sometimes well-respected publisher like Ubisoft releasing a Battle Royale, many of us thought, okay, this could be good. They've had many years to look at the successes and failures of other major Battle Royales, so you'd think that they would be able to develop a solid Battle Royale game, right? Well, that's what I initially thought whenever I first saw this game. In terms of fast-paced Battle Royales, the only one that seems to have reached major success was Apex Legends. So maybe Ubisoft could make a game that brought something new to the table, get more players interested in this subgenre of fast-paced Battle Royales, or even have players leave a game like Apex Legends for this new, futuristic, fast-paced Battle Royale. But no, none of that happened. The starting gun went off for this game, it ran a few meters, and then face-planted. And now Hyperscape is just limping through this race, and it seems that Ubisoft has, given up on this game in a sense. So let's go back to July of 2020. Whenever Hyperscape was announced, I don't know about you guys, but I was seeing ads everywhere for this game, and all the major streamers were streaming this new and exciting Battle Royale. And so the initial rollout of Hyperscape from a marketing standpoint was amazing, and Ubisoft decided to take the same route that Valorant took. If you remember, whenever the Valorant beta went out, everyone was scrambling, watching 20 different streamers trying to get access to a beta key so that they could play Valorant. And the same thing happened with Hyperscape. Ubisoft realized that the success of multiplayer games typically, not always, depend on their popularity on Twitch. And at least by today's standards, 3 years ago, maybe not, but today, you can look at the numbers on Twitch and you'll get a good idea as to how popular and how successful a game is. And so not only did Ubisoft use Twitch as a way to give out beta keys, the game also had Twitch integration, to where the chat decided what happened in the game and what special game events would take place. Ubisoft tried their hardest in the beginning to make sure that this game was something that you would not only enjoy playing, but watching. They tried to make this game a spectacle that doubled down when it came to encouraging people to tune in and watch their favorite streamers play this new and exciting Battle Royale. So Ubisoft had the marketing and they had the Twitch integration. And Ubisoft is a well-respected developer who had been known to develop some pretty great games. So this game should just pop off and be a success, right? No, because none of those corporate marketing techniques matter if the game that you developed sucks. Building hype around a game is certainly needed for, having a successful launch, but if you have a game that doesn't bring anything new or improved to a genre and it feels like it's just pieced together with other versions of other Battle Royales, it won't last. And this game, Hyperscape, has not lasted. Hyperscape is only 4 months in and it had what looked like to be an amazing start with the highest concurrent viewer count on Twitch of 450,000. And at the time of writing this, it has less than 500 concurrent viewers. I even tried logging into the game earlier to get footage and prep for this video, but I couldn't find a match with more than 10 people in it. And this happened with multiple matches. I had one match where there was only 6 of us playing. And so that may be the reason that you're not seeing actual gameplay of me playing it, because I can't even get into a lobby. So as of right now, this game, in my mind, I would think is just dead. But why did it die so quickly? Why did Ubisoft release a Battle Royale and have it die 4 months later? I would understand if this was an indie developer, but this is Ubisoft we're talking about. And so now I'm going to try to transition into the part of the video where I talk about what was actually good and what's bad about the game. And so I don't want, start with a negative. I'm going to start with the positives here. And if you're someone who enjoys this game, good for you. I'm glad you enjoy it. Play it to your heart's content. This video isn't meant to get you to stop playing it, but I am making this video really to examine how a game from a respected publisher could fall so flat and die with less than 5 months after its release. And I feel like this type of criticism is needed if we want to see improvements in the overall quality of the games that we're interested in. But as I said, I'm going to start us off by saying what I actually liked about Hyperscape. And again, these are just my opinions. You'll have your own, and I'm not here to tell you what to think and believe. But for me, the best thing about this game, the thing that I enjoyed the most, was how smooth the movement was and how fast it was. Insanely fast movement may not be your cup of tea, and it's typically not my favorite thing, but I think the fast movement works really well for a game that has the map that Hyperscape has. When a map is in an urban setting and you're running through streets and alleyways, it's just fun to zoom throughout the city. And it's really fun whenever you get boosted into the air, you're flying in the air and jumping on top of people. One of the reasons I used to be a huge fan of Apex Legends was because of the movement. I love super fast and super smooth movement. So in that area, I think Hyperscape was able to take something from another game and improvement. I think the movement in both Apex Legends and Hyperscape is amazing, but Ubisoft was able to improve the movement for Hyperscape. Another thing I really like about this game is how the storm works. I like how the map does not close in like the typical circle storm. It makes the game way less predictable, and having the play area be restricted not by a storm but by buildings phasing out of existence is something new, and I think it works really well. It's not a storm that's going to just obliterate you and just run your health all the way down. Another positive of Hyperscape is the Echo Revive system that lets you help your team even when you're dead. Even when you're dead, you're still able to run throughout the city and give callouts and warn your teammates as to where enemies are approaching from. And as far as positives, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I really like the crown grab aspect of this game. I don't like it necessarily because I find it enjoyable, but it's a great twist on the genre and fits in really well when you consider the movement and overall playstyle of the game. This is an aspect that would only fit with a game like this if you had to win by grabbing an in-game item in other battle royales. I don't think that would work, so hats off to Hyperscape devs for bringing something completely new and different to the table. And so that's it. Those are the only positives I can really come up with this game, and that's really sad. There's some little things that, may be good overall, but I wouldn't really necessarily call them positives. So, but yeah, those are the only real things that I see that came from this game that I really enjoyed. So here are the negatives, and these are in no particular order. But number one, I think the map is just awful. The theme for the map is okay, but the entire map looks and feels exactly the same. There are a few landmarks, but overall the map looks like it was copy and pasted over and over until the map was big enough. They put some streets, they put some buildings that form a square with a courtyard in the middle, and then the occasional train rail. Overall, the map is extremely lazy and offers no variety. And I don't know why, maybe because it's a city, but I hate that there's very little elevation change. The only elevation change is whether or not you're on top of a building or in the street. In other battle royales, you can be put into a scenario where you have to get into the zone or go get some loot, but you're put at a disadvantage because you may be in a valley, and so it's like a really big risk-reward situation. And that doesn't really exist in this game. You can climb on a rooftop and just have the high ground for the entire match, moving from rooftop to rooftop. And again, this is just my opinions and experience from the game. And you may like the map, but to me, I think the map was just lazy. Number two, another aspect that I think really sucks about this game is it's a consequence of the movement speed, but it's amplified more by the poor map design and time to kill, which, believe me, I'll talk about that later. And that is how easily it is to exit a gunfight in this game. When you have an urban map with alleyways, little chance to gain a huge vertical advantage other than being on top of a building, hacks that allow players to turn invisible to evade each other, and just extremely fast movement speed within a fast-paced game. You don't even have to acknowledge your opponents are just mediocre. You can progress far into the game. It's a game that seems to reward those who play passively, and I hate that. What I love about most other battle royales is how hard it is to evade a fight once it is engaged. In Hyperscape, you can run up to someone, unload a mag into them, run away, have them chase you for 45 seconds, and then do it to someone else. It's really that easy, and you can just play extremely recklessly and still evade getting killed. As for number three, the hacks in this game are so lackluster. For those of you who aren't too familiar with the game, the special pickup abilities are called hacks. Now, this is something that kind of separates Hyperscape from other battle royales, but the abilities given are just so boring that I couldn't think of a reason as to why the hacks could really be seen as a pro. The only good thing that I can say about the hack system is that they do not require you to play as a team to be effective. And what I mean by that is, look at a game like Apex Legends. The hero abilities are not the best when you think of the game as a solo experience. The abilities work better when you have a team around you. So it's nice to see abilities that cater more towards a solo experience than a team experience, but the hacks suck. They're boring and sound like concepts that were just thrown together in a 5-minute board meeting. As for number 4, one of the bigger reasons I'm not a fan of Apex Legends is that there is no solo mode. And I don't have a ton of friends, I'm not a people person, I enjoy playing games by myself. And so with that being said, I hate that Hyperscape is 3-person squad only. I remember there being a solo mode whenever I played the beta, but whenever I re-downloaded the game, the only mode available was a 3-person squad. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said about the abilities being awful. The hacks in this game cater best to a solo experience, but we're not given that solo experience. And that's especially annoying whenever you have low lobby counts. Like I said earlier, I was in a game with 6 people. So it's just 2 teams at that point playing in a battle royale. Like that's awful. As for number 5, this has to be probably, this is definitely my biggest gripe of the entire game. I could deal with everything else that I've mentioned, but this is the number one thing that pisses me off about Hyperscape and many other shooters. If I am playing an FPS, it should not take me 3 magazines to kill someone. I should not need 60 rounds to kill another player. The time to kill in Hyperscape is the highest of any other first-person shooter that I have ever played. It is ridiculous. It took the worst part of Apex Legends, which was the time to kill, and made it so much worse. And I know it comes down to personal preference, but it's retarded that you can have the jump on someone, connect your shots, and then still lose the gunfight because it goes on for 2 minutes. And I keep comparing this game to Apex Legends because that's the closest example we have to Hyperscape. But I think the biggest problem in Apex Legends is the high time to kill. And if that was lower, I think more people would want to play that game. I know I would. I'd be playing that more than Warzone if that was the case. And I think that's why a game like Warzone is so popular. To me, that has the most perfect time to kill of any battle royale on the market. Gunfights can be ended quickly, but you still have a chance to win a gunfight even if someone has the jump on you and fires the first few shots. And the high time to kill in Hyperscape is again amplified by the quick movement. Like, it already sucks that it takes 3 mags to kill somebody, but it really sucks whenever the person moves around the city like he's Lightning McQueen. Now for problem number 6, I'm just going to stop at number 6. I could keep going on and on and on, but you're getting the idea, but I'm just going to say this and I'll be done. The guns in Hyperscape are so boring. The gunplay is boring. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. It may be because these guns aren't real and many of the guns don't have like a real life variation to compare to, but I can't think of another word for them other than boring. All of the weapons feel almost exactly the same, and for me that can either make or break the game. And I know this is an older example, and it's probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Battlefield 4 because of the gunplay. The game as a whole is amazing, the maps are beautiful, and I believe after 7 years, I believe, it still holds up. But that is a game where all the guns feel exactly the same to me, and that makes it really hard for me to enjoy it. And then you compare it to another Battlefield game like Battlefield 1, where it's the polar opposite and where no 2 guns feel the same. And Battlefield 1 is probably my favorite first-person shooter of all time. And I know these are different games, different genres, and different studios, but gunplay is probably the most important aspect of an FPS. And if you have a game where all the guns feel pretty much the same, it's going to be extremely boring for your players. And sort of a side note, not going to go too deep into this, but the sights on the gun are also just terrible. Now again, I could go on and on about the things like the awful job Ubisoft did with balancing the weapons, the lack of a ranked mode with skill-based matchmaking, or the fact that there is no crossplay. But I think I've made my point, and I've shown why this game failed so easily. And I would say that this is just my opinion, and it is. But I feel like the opinions that I've expressed here are the same opinions that many others feel concerning Hyperscape and games in general. Ubisoft came into the Battle Royale genre with Hyper Scape, and they did not do their homework. After playing Hyper Scape, it's evident that they did not look at the successes and failures of other games in the genre, and it shows. Ubisoft missed the mark so hard and pushed out an extremely lazy game that has nothing to keep a majority of players interested. It seems as if Ubisoft published this game not because they wanted to do it and not because they had a team passionate about it, although that's probably not the case. As a player, it sure does feel that way. And it feels that way with a lot of other games as well. Like, I couldn't tell you guys the last time I was genuinely excited about a new game coming out. It seems that publishers keep pushing out incomplete games designed as a cash grab with zero soul. And that's understandable to an extent. The gaming industry is designed to make money. But Hyperscape is another example of a game that was lazy and just hoped to ride on the coattails of a slowly dying genre.